All right, so today we're going deep on Accra, Ghana's capital city.
Right.
But
Floods have been wreaking havoc in Accra, Ghana's capital, in every rainy season.
not for the reasons you might think.
No.
We're not talking like the vibrant culture or, the history.
Right.
Residents are now urging the government to prioritize flood defenses and preventative measures. Some have sounded the alarm over Accra's vulnerability to flooding.
We're diving into a problem,
Yeah.
a recurring problem that they're facing.
Big time.
Flooding.
During the rainy season, things get really bad. I barely sleep well at night because the flood fills up my room.
Accra's got a flooding problem, and you've sent over this YouTube video
I did.
that gives us kind of like a snapshot of what's going on there.
Anytime that happens, my blood pressure goes up.
Yeah, it's really eye-opening.
Yeah, so let's unpack it.
Let's unpack it.
What do we got?
Environmentalists argue that a complete overhaul of the city's housing is necessary.
Well, what's really fascinating to me is how this problem, it's not just about
Particularly with rising sea levels posing an increasing threat to coastal communities like Accra.
torrential rainfall,
Right.
It's about how natural forces.
It's because of poor planning as a result of city authorities not enforcing the laws.
And human decisions are kind of colliding in a really.
They're intertwined.
Yeah,
The second one has to do with urbanization because people come.
intertwined way. Exactly.
And the video mentions this too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not just a one-off thing.
No.
This flooding is happening.
And they need a place to stay. So they will clear the vegetation and get a place to sit.
Like
every day season.
every season.
Rainy season. Yep.
And residents are understandably fed up.
While local authorities have undertaken temporary measures such as dredging drains and demolishing structures along waterways,
Oh yeah, I can only imagine just the stress of never feeling safe in your own home.
Totally.
these solutions are insufficient.
And that's a really good point to bring up, right? Because it's not just like, oh my gosh, my stuff is getting damaged.
Right.
Environmentalists now believe better methods can still be applied.
It's a public health issue.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a mental health issue.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Like the stress of
Oh,
this
it's
is.
chronic stress.
Yeah.
To arrest this situation,
It's wild they even interview someone in the video whose blood pressure
for climate activists, authorities hold their part of responsibility.
spikes every time the rain starts.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a visceral reaction.
That's intense.
Yeah.
In this situation,
And you really get the sense from watching that people are desperate for the government to step in and help.
When we build, we'll create spaces where water will pass so that the flooding will not occur.
Of course.
They want some serious flood defenses, not just these temporary
Yes,
fixes.
Exactly right.
And secondly, we should address the sanitation situation so that people will not use the.
And speaking of which,
Yeah.
the video talks about this thing called dredging.
Dredging, yeah.
gutters as a conduit to dump their waste. And then those who are rich,
Which I guess is a common response to this problem.
Very common.
But is that really enough?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
please, if you are building, create spaces for the greenery, revive the green culture so that
dredging, which is essentially removing all the sediment and stuff from the bottom of waterways, it can work.
the trees will absorb the.
But it's very short term.
Oh.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a much bigger problem.
Right.
Water anytime you rain.
urban flooding has been a frequent occurrence in Ghana
And it can actually disrupt the ecosystem too.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's not a very sustainable solution, especially when you consider the whole.
At least 18 out of the last 50 years have recorded significant flooding incidences in which lives and properties have been lost.
Rising sea level thing,
Right.
which the video also brings up.
That's right. Yeah.
Coastal cities like Accra are increasingly vulnerable and they need to think long term.
Totally. And, another thing that really stuck out to me in the video was how they pointed to poor city planning. as like a major
Huge.
culprit here.
Absolutely.
They were talking about buildings being constructed in places they just shouldn't be, blocking natural waterways and stuff.
It's like squeezing a city into spaces that just can't handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's textbook urbanization gone wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
rapid growth without the smart development to back it up.
right.
And then, bam, these environmental risks just multiply.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just big developers ignoring the rules either.
Right.
It's also individuals, right? Like
Yeah.
the video talks about people clearing out vegetation
Right.
to build their homes.
Yep.
It's almost like everyone's choices.
Like a domino effect.
Yeah, chain reaction of like individual choices leading up to this citywide crisis.
It is. And, you know, it reminds me of that whole tragedy of the commons thing,
Oh, yeah.
where like shared resources are just depleted
Right.
because everybody's acting in their own self-interest.
Yeah,
You know, it's fascinating.
it is.
It's a really complex issue.
So what can be done then?
Well,
Like, is there any hope here?
yeah, actually, the video does offer some glimmers of hope.
Good.
Like, they talk about these climate activists who are advocating for building in ways that let the water flow naturally.
Oh, okay.
And they also talk about restoring green spaces to help absorb the water.
Some more parks.
More parks, green roofs, you know,
Oh, that would be awesome.
We're-
Like, imagine Accra.
all these green spaces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
It's about working with nature, not against it.
Yeah.
Not trying to control it, living in harmony.
Germany. Yeah.
And also addressing the sanitation issues,
Yeah. Yeah.
making sure that the garbage isn't clogging up the waterways.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That contributes a lot to the flooding.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it.
It is.
They said in the last 50 years, Accra has seen serious flooding in almost 20 of them.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot of damage, a lot of loss.
It is. But you know what? Maybe
Yeah.
Accra's challenges could be turned into an opportunity.
Okay.
What if this need to adapt leads to some really amazing innovations
Oh.
in urban planning and flood management?
Okay.
What if they become a model for other coastal cities
Right.
that are facing similar threats?
Wow. That's food for thought, right?
That is food for thought. So I think what we can all take away from this is that Accra's story is like a warning, but it's also a call to action.
Yeah.
It reminds us that cities all over the world,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Go.
all over, need to think carefully about how they grow
Right.
and how that growth impacts
Absolutely.
the environment.
The environment. Yeah.
But as you said, maybe this challenge
Yeah.
can spark some amazing innovation
Innovation.
and create a blueprint for a more resilient future.
A more resilient future. Yeah. I like that.
What do you think?
I think that's a great takeaway.
Cool.
I like it.
All right, thanks for diving deep on that with me.
My pleasure.
It was Accra's flooding problem.
Yeah, across a flooding problem.
All right, we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.